"Leave the key and don't come back," my father said at dinner. My mother just stared and nodded. "This house was never yours." My sister handed me a suitcase already packed. They erased me room by room, until the bank called me, and then everything collapsed. "Leave the key and don't come back," my father said, setting down his fork like a gavel. His voice wasn't raised. It didn't need to be. Finality echoed louder than rage ever could. Across the table, my mother stirred her mashed potatoes like the world wasn't splintering. She wouldn't look at me. "This house was never yours," she said finally, eyes locked on the food. No emotion, no blink. Then came my sister, Claire, the golden one, the martyr, the inheritor. She stood from her seat, lips pursed, and reached beneath the table. A suitcase. Already packed. My suitcase. "Thought you'd make it harder," she said, setting it by my feet. Her voice dripped with restrained satisfaction. "Figured you'd cause a scene." I didn't respond. They'd prepared this together. My place had been scrubbed out of their lives like a stain on glass, room by room, drawer by drawer, year by year, and now this was the final sweep. Silence filled the dining room, save for the clicking of a spoon against porcelain. Then my father added the last nail. "We did what we had to do. Don't make it worse than it already is." And I felt it then. The full weight of being unwanted. But I wasn't going to beg. Not this time. I picked up the suitcase. Then the phone rang. The bank. No one moved. And that was when everything began to collapse. My name is Jordan. Jordan Reyes, 24 years old, graduated with debt that wasn't mine, raised in a house I never quite belonged to. You ever feel like a guest in your own home? That was me, from the age of 12. I was always too much or too sensitive, too emotional, not like Claire. Claire, with her straight A's and pageant smile ambition. Claire, who could break a rule and still be praised for her confidence. Me? I once missed a curfew, and Mom made me sleep in the garage. They say men aren't supposed to care. But I did. I cared so much it choked me every night. I used to think if I just tried harder, kept quiet, worked more hours, paid the bills no one asked me to, maybe they'd see me. They didn't. They used me, and now they'd erased me. Meet my family. Dad, Richard Reyes, 56. Built like a brick wall, both physically and emotionally. Spoken expectations. Loved with conditions. Co-signed a loan in my name. Never told me. Defaulted. Said it was family business. Mom, Elaine Reyes, 54. Polished, cold, born to preserve appearances. When I broke down crying after working 2 jobs to pay the mortgage, she told me to man up and stop embarrassing yourself. Claire Reyes, 27. She was everything I wasn't, perfect, sharp, smiling with teeth. She crashed a car in my name once, got out of it clean, said, "It's not like you were using your credit anyway." "You co-signed a second mortgage under my name," I said, quiet but firm. The air froze. "You're overreacting," Dad snapped. "It was just to help cover the house. We were short. It's not like we didn't feed you growing up." "That's not how this works," I said, my voice cracked. "You used my name, my credit. You didn't even tell me." Claire rolled her eyes. "God, Jordan, it's just numbers. They're fixing it now. You act like we stole your kidney." "I didn't ask to be your scapegoat," I said, jaw tight. "You had options. You chose me." Mom cleared her throat like she was tired of the noise. "We needed someone to step up. Claire was buying her condo. Your father was between jobs. You were available. Like a shelf, like a drawer, like a tool. I gave you everything I had." I whispered. No one heard it but me. I worked myself sick, cleaned up every mistake, and when things went wrong, you blamed me. Claire scoffed. You were always dramatic. You think the world owes you for basic responsibility. Dad stood, slamming his hand on the table. That's enough. You're a man now. Take some damn accountability and stop whining like a victim. Victim. The word made me laugh, quietly, but it echoed. You're right, I said. I am a man now. 3 years ago, Claire was drunk at a party, called me, sobbing, said she'd hit something on the road. Didn't know if it was a person or a deer. I drove 40 minutes at 2 a.m., took the blame, filed the insurance, paid the deductible, never told a soul. 2 weeks later, she posted a bikini pic with the caption, "Blessed. Everything's falling into place. No thank you, no apology. They never asked where my money went. They never cared that I stopped school to work extra shifts. The bank had called me 2 weeks ago, said the house was in my name. The second mortgage, said it was being foreclosed. I let them talk. Then I called a lawyer. Then I compiled everything. Voicemails, texts, the insurance report from Claire's accident, the forged signature on the second mortgage, the unpaid taxes they never forwarded to me. And I mailed it all to their jobs, to their neighbors, to a journalist I knew from college who owed me a favor. And just as Claire reached for her wine that night, my phone buzzed. I flipped it to show them. The first article had dropped. Family fraud. How a son was erased to keep a house afloat. My mother's face went paper white. My father's hand clenched. Claire's glass shattered in her palm. You think you'll get away with this? Dad growled. I already have, I said calmly. You think this makes you better than us? Claire screamed. You're ruining us. You ruined yourselves. My voice didn't rise. You all finally hear me now? Or do you need another file? Mom started crying. Actual shaking tears, but not for me. For the reputation, for the loss. You're heartless, she whispered. No, I said. I just finally got tired of bleeding for people who keep stabbing me. And I walked out the front door, suitcase in hand. The next day, Claire called, not to apologize and not exactly, just to ask, why didn't you just talk to us? I smiled bitterly at the wind. I've been talking my whole life. You just never listened. She didn't respond, then, quietly. You were right, about a lot of it. I didn't say anything. I hope you find something better. I already am. I hung up. I got a one-bedroom apartment. Tiny, quiet. The windows let in light, not judgment. I sleep in peace now. No footsteps above me. No guilt curled at my feet. Some nights, I wonder if they'll ever change. Maybe they will. Maybe not. But I'm no longer their mirror to shatter. I saw my own reflection finally, and I didn't flinch. Forgiveness? Maybe one day, but not to forget, to heal. I'm still Jordan Reyes. I'm still standing. And for once, that's enough.